Nah. We out here, man. Tabernacles day 6, man. We out here with the kids in the tents, and you see it. We out here in the wilderness. Um, if you can't really hear this, I think the phone should pick it up, but if you can't really hear, Salaki for that. We got a lesson for today, man. Before we go out and preach the good word on the street corners, man. Before we get started, I want to give all glory and honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And that nation is Israel. We brother Azrael, brother
Isaiah.
Brother Isaiah. We got the brother in the back.
Obadiah.
We got the other brother.
No.
So we all here, man, through the spirit, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Baruch. Y'all keep that brother in y'all prayers, man. He don't got no health problems, but he got a health thing going on right now, man. So we keep that brother in our prayers. But nonetheless, we got a good word for you guys today, man. We're gonna talk about tabernacles some more. You can never, stop or get enough of tabernacles during the week of tabernacles, man. So we're gonna talk about tabernacles some more. I got a decent sized lesson for us today. Hopefully, it's edifying, right? The first precept I want to pull is John chapter 7 and verse 2. Also, bear with us too if y'all hear the music in the background. It look like it's a family reunion out here at this campsite we at. There might get through some kids, you might hear some of that. So just try to, you got ears to hear, zone in spiritually, man, on the lesson, man.
Con, this is the book of John, chapter 7 and verse number 2. And it reads, Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand. His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest.
Right, because we know that the Feast of Tabernacles, now keep in mind we're in the New Testament with this, right? And they keeping the commandments. His disciples said, hey, go into Judea, go into Jerusalem, right? Because they know what the commandment is. They know where all the Jews gonna be. But I wanted to make an emphasis. It says, whose feast?
The Jews.
The Jews' feast. Right? This is the New Testament, the Jews' feast. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is this, right? Because some people may say, you might talk to some colloquial Christians, right? And that's in the modern day Christianity, and they may want to debate you and be like, well, that was what the Jews were doing. It was just the Jews, man. And, it was tradition of men and X, Y, and Z. I'm going to show you where the disconnect is, right? The disconnect is it wasn't just the Jews. Right? But at the time, the tradition was just the Jews because those were the ones that were keeping the commandments. All the other tribes, they were acting like the other nations, man. They were, trying to, worship Ashtoreth and Baal and Ash, all these different things, right? And they were trying, Zeus, Poseidon, they was trying to do all these different things. They wasn't keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, so that's why they said it was the Feast of the Jews. But really, it was the Feast of the Israelites. Right? All the tribes. And we're going to prove that, right? Let's go to Leviticus 23, starting at verse 41.
Con, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, starting at verse number 41. And it reads, And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year.
Right.
It shall be a statute forever in your generations.
First of all, it says forever. So it didn't say till Christ come back. It didn't say till Christ fulfilled all concerning him. It didn't say to the New Testament and Paul was written. It didn't say until you lose your kingdom. It says forever. Keep going.
Con, ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
All that are what?
All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
So if you're an Israelite born, you should be keeping this feast. Right? If you're a born Israelite, if it's in your blood, not just the Jews. Why am I saying that? Because we constantly have to remind people that the Jews was not all of the tribes.
Right.
The Jews was 3 tribes. There's 12 tribes, right? So we have to keep constantly reminding people that it was all the Israelites. It was not just the Jews. The Jews at the time were just the ones keeping it, right? They were the ones keeping the commandments because, when the kingdom split, the Most High God said that the light would not depart out of David's tent. What is the light? The light is the commandment. So even though the kingdom split, the Most High God made it to we would not forget his commandments. So when we split, the Jews just happened to carry that torch. So, because he knew at one point in time we would come together and we would start keeping these commandments again, right? Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 8, man.
Con.
Verse 14.
That's the book of Nehemiah chapter 8, starting at verse number 14. And they found written in the law, which the Lord had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month.
Right, what is a booth? A booth is a tabernacle. It's a tent, man. It's a shelter, right? We'll get into that in a second, but don't get, distracted by these different terms, booths, and all of that, right? It was just a way of saying tabernacle, right? Keep going.
Con. Verse 15. And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go forth unto the mount, and fetch olive branches, and pine branches, and myrtle branches, and palm branches, and branches of thick trees, to make booths, as it is written.
Man, he said what? He said pine branches. You see we out here with these pine trees? We see out here with all these branches and limbs, man, right? We in the midst of it. Letting you know we trying to keep the commandments to the best of our ability. But I want y'all to notice what he said at the beginning of verse 15. He said, in all your cities, right? Read that one more time.
Con. Nehemiah 8 and 15 from the top. And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities.
Con,
and in Jerusalem.
So it wasn't just Jerusalem. We know that the men of the Israelites, when we see in Acts chapter 2, right? We see that devout men out of every nation came to Jerusalem, right? But where were their families at? We saw them devout men come out of Cush, out of Pathros, out of Assyria. We saw them come everywhere. Out of Ethiopia, they came everywhere. Where were their families at? And were their families keeping it? So guess what? It says in all their cities. So wherever you at, right? The brother Yeshua went over this a little bit in his lesson. Wherever you at, we're commanded to keep this feast, man. Now, we don't have no temple in Jerusalem, so I know there's some Israelites out there that say we gotta go back. We gotta go back still, but where are we going back to? The reason why we was going back is because we had a temple to go back to. We don't have a temple to go back to, right? And if they have any type of synagogue out there, it's defiled. So it's no point in going back to that city because we don't have a temple. We was going back for a reason. We wasn't just going just to touch down on earth. We was going to the temple and to make sacrifices. We can't do that, right? But nonetheless, it says that we proclaimed when they got the book of the Lord back and they were setting up their city, when Nehemiah and Ezra and Baruch, all of them got their stuff back. Guess what? They read in the law. I know you may be saying, I don't see that in the law. It don't say in all your cities in the law. This is the thing. We've been in captivity after captivity after captivity, rendition after rendition, translation after translation. Some things gonna get lost. That's why he said he's gonna bring it back to us. But nonetheless, it's recorded in Nehemiah that when they got it back, it said in their book of the law that they made the proclamation, they proclaimed it in all their cities. And it only makes sense because, like I said, when the men went, where were the families at? Where was their wife and their kids at? They was keeping tabernacles in their cities. Let's move on though. I want to, you can get the next precept in Psalm 61 and 3. And I also want you to read this next word, right? So the word I want to read, man, is H5520, right? H5520.
In the Strongs?
Yeah.
What's
in the
the
Strong's.
word?
The word should be booths.
Okay.
Right? Coming out of Nehemiah, what we just read, right? I want to go into that word real quick because this is the Feast of Booths or Feast of Tabernacles, right? So H5520, let's read the definition on that.
Strong's H5520, right? Should be the word booth, but it says a hut or lair, right? Booth, cottage, covered, pavilion, tabernacle, tent.
Right. So this is what I'm saying, right? This definition, and give me some leeway. I didn't type it in my notes. So it could have been booth or tabernacles, right? But nonetheless, it said a hut or a layer, right? When you go into those words and you get the definition, you're gonna see a bunch of synonyms and they're both gonna have